Hello, Josie here. Are you ready for the truth? The whole truth and nothing but the truth, and are you sure? Okay, here we go. I'm going to spend a moment talking about this. I'm going to do this outdoors because I'm enjoying this weather. It is springtime here in the Houston area, and it kind of feels like, you know, how a lot of Houstonians wish summer would feel like. Instead of being just so stark and hot, there's a breeze in the air, the sun is out, it's a little bit cloudy here and there, so it's bearable, you know? You don't have the humidity. That's nice. So this is like, I like to call it pre-summer here in Houston. Pre-summer. Excuse the do, excuse the outfit, it is what it is. I dress the way I feel, the way I feel like it. I'm not on here putting on airs. I'm not fronting, but I know who I am. I know what I got, and I know what God has blessed me with throughout. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful. What I want to talk about today is abuse in relationships. And I'm not just talking about the abuse in your typical intimate relationship, physical relationship. No. I'm talking about that and so much more. I'm talking about abuse in your familial relationships, abuse in your neighbor relationships, your abuse in friendships, and one of the most dangerous abuses that people are in is in regard to their family unit, their family connection. You can be totally and completely polar opposite from certain people in your family. You've heard this said before. You may have the same blood, but y'all are not the same. Or y'all may have the same last name, but you're not the same. That's really how it is. That's really how it is. But the other dangerous part of that is, if you have a gift or talent, if you have been blessed by God with something that is going to propel you in life to be successful, to be seen, to be abundant, monetarily abundant, socially abundant. You will have people in your own family, and it's not just your brother or your sister, not just your siblings, but your own parents can abuse you because they are not happy that you got it and they didn't. They're instead of seeing it as, if this child makes it, then we all make it. Instead of having that mindset and that attitude, no, it's if this child makes it, that's gonna make me look bad because they got it and I didn't get it first, or it didn't come from me, or I didn't instill whatever it was, or I didn't grow, or I didn't help to. The word I'm looking for is they did not have any hand in doing the blessing and or the gifting that came from God. So they feel as if, they don't have any say, they don't have any authority over the life of their children to be able to guide them and direct them in the way that they want them to go. So instead of doing right by their child, they do their child wrong. It's fucked up indeed, but that is actually, in fact, how some parents feel in regards to the gifts of their children. Then you have some children that will, want them to go to school, get good grades, be abundant, be talented, try this and try this, because it's going to get them into certain networks, social groups. They'll meet certain individuals that they want their child to be attached to or married to. And anything less than that, anything not in the direction that they want them to go, they will destroy it. And they do that on behalf of their child because they see that as them protecting what they have been taking care of and raising and rearing, and that basically being a lottery ticket for them in the future, to where they know that their child, yes, will be successful and make money, but their child will be able to take care of them in their old age, provide for them in their old age, and they will look good in the eyes of other family members, neighbors, colleagues, and social circles in society from where they're from. But you can have the complete and total opposite happen in a family, to where your family will send toxicity your way and or stir up toxicity in your life with your neighbors, with certain social networks that you're in, certain environments, certain fields of creativity and whatnot, friend groups and whatnot. Your parents can actually stir up negativity and drama in your life, to where you end up not meeting people in certain social networks that could advance you and or help you to get further in what your passions, what your desires are for your future. Not only that, you will have your own parents and your own family members abuse you and make you feel and or seem as if you are less than, you are not worthy, you are not deserving of being in certain social groups, having certain social connections, even having friends that you have things in common with. They will jeopardize everything good that you are trying to build, because they want you to feel as if you ain't got it when they know you got it. They want to make you feel like you're not talented when they know you're talented. A sibling wanted me to play at their wedding, wanted me to play the violin, and I did not feel comfortable playing the violin at their wedding. Little did I know that this sibling only wanted me to play at their wedding so that they could shame me in a way. They knew that I was shy. They knew I did not like to play in front of groups or crowds. They knew that I would be nervous, and it was their wedding day, so in a way it would make them feel better, as if, oh, I'm going to shame my sibling and make them feel less than, and then other people are going to see that they ain't got it, that they're not confident, that they're not talented, so on and so forth. Also, as I was growing up, I used to enjoy baking cakes. But the cakes I would bake would be the ones in the box cakes, There's really nothing to it, to a box cake. You get the box, you get the eggs, you get the oil, you get the water, you mix it all together, you put it in a pan, and then you pop it in the oven, you wait for a certain amount of time, then you pull it out, then you frost it, and that's it. It's not really that difficult. It's more difficult and or challenging, rather, if you were to do everything from scratch. Get the flour, sift flour, get the other ingredients, natural ingredients, add those in there, so on and so forth. Come up with your own baking goods or whatever. And my parents, they would act like it was a big deal that I would bake these cakes, when it really wasn't. They were basically gaslighting me, making me feel as if I was doing something big or doing something grand when I really wasn't. At that time, I didn't think anything of it, because it was just a cake. And they would say, oh, this cake is delicious, this cake is good, blah, blah, blah. But they were gaslighting me. That is another form of abuse. And that's not the only way that they gaslit me. That's just one example I'm giving you right now. And you know what I'm talking about. You be honest with yourself. Be truthful with yourself. Making a box cake is not difficult compared to making a cake from scratch. That's more challenging. that's more challenging, that shows more, more. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is really going to sting a lot of individuals. I'm going to take a sip of coffee first. Your own parents, your own siblings can hate you so much. They can be so jealous of what it is that you have within you, the gifts and talents. They will not only send toxicity towards you to try to mess up who you are, what you're doing, the direction that you're going in. And I'm talking about they will send girls, guys, people that you're interested in to try to attach themselves to you, to try to drag you down deeper. They will have you drugged. They will have you raped. They will have you dosed in such a way that if you were to have one beverage, one drink, and then drive, whatever was put in that beverage would knock you out and or incapacitate you to the point where you would get into an accident, a fatal accident, and pass away. And they could then collect insurance on you. You will have your own family. You will have your own family that will have you to meet individuals that have a disease or an STD and try to have you and or wish and or hope and or think that you're going to be reckless in your activities, that you're not going to protect yourself, and then you're going to catch that same STD or illness that could potentially take you out and or cause your health to fail, and they could get an insurance policy claim off of that. I could continue, but I have given you quite a bit there. I've shared quite a bit with you, and I'm letting you know that all that has happened with me. I have been a victim to all those different tactics by my own siblings and my own parents over the years. I will even go as far as to share this with you. My spouse, my deceased spouse, that I was with for 2 decades, was paid by my parents to basically take me off of their hands and have me into certain things and experiences where I could potentially fall victim to catching an STD and or becoming a drug addict and hooked on narcotics and or an alcoholic, and then they be able to claim insurance benefits on my name. This person that I was partnered to, it was almost like I was guided towards this individual. Not only was I guided towards this individual, but this individual would let me know and or confirm throughout the time we were together other relationships that he had been in and or guys or boys that lived with him that fell victim to alcohol abuse or drug abuse, or they became infected with an STD or an illness. I was also informed by my former spouse, that he was actually asked by one individual's parents to take their child off of their hands because they were concerned that he was going to be a bad influence on his brother, his younger brother. And his parents did not want that. So they asked my spouse, my former spouse, to take him in. And from there, that boy got into the wrong scene, met the wrong individuals, ended up moving to California to be with a guy that he met and fell in love with, and that guy pimped him out, and he passed away from HIV/AIDS at a very young age. And this guy found his way and or was basically taken in by Mike at the age of 13 years old. So, just turned teenager. Parents knew that their child was homosexual, didn't want him in the house around his brother, and so they basically kicked him out and or pawned him off on Mike. As far as what they did, if they did anything, I do believe that Mike did engage in activity with that boy. Maybe they were not together, maybe they were not a couple, but he did more than likely engage with that boy. And I did not understand or come to understand that my own parents had basically done the same thing to me by me meeting Mike the way that I did, knowing and or finding out who he was, how I got to him, how we ended up connecting, and how everything just kind of lined up and or worked so well in us getting together because he was going to benefit off of having me in his life. Not so much me benefiting off of him, but him benefiting off of me because of, like I said, those gifts and talents that I possessed. And no, I'm not just talking about sexually. Business savvy. Over the years, Mike had quite a few businesses that did not do well. They would fail. And I came into his business and I turned his business around to where it was making a profit, making a steady profit, seeing gains. And he purchased another business. We got into another business. It did good for the most part, not as well as it could have, just because of the times that we were in and the direction that the world was going with the World Wide Web. So that was not on me. He didn't blame me for that business not really taking off the way that we expected it to. But still, we did good and we got by, but he would not have survived had I not been in his corner, if I had not been attached to him in a love relationship. Because if you understand, and we're about to get real deep with this now, even more deeper than I've already gone, a love attachment, a relationship, a love relationship, intimate relationship, that is a relationship where you can be heavily abused. It is right up there. It is right up there with familial abuse because you have a strong attachment to your blood relatives and or your family. You have a somewhat connection with them, and you will allow abuse to go on longer, and or you will allow abuse in a family unit just as you would allow abuse in an intimate relationship and or a sexual relationship because of the connection, the attachment, the tie that you're creating with another individual. and you do not want to break that tie. You don't want to deal with sour times. You don't want to deal with breakup. You care about that person. You love that person. So if that person is abusing you, or that person is gaslighting you, as well as the age difference. There was a 40-year age difference between us. That is not good. That can definitely ramp up the abuse, as well as allow the abuse and gaslighting to happen in very manipulative ways from his side of things because of his age, his experience, his knowledge, and my youth and Pollyanna-like attitude that can be very dangerous. And so that is what I encountered, not only through familial abuse, but relationship abuse. Then add on sibling abuse, and then you add on neighborhood abuse, and then you add on church abuse, being abused by the church, then you add on classmate abuse, then friendship abuse. That's a lot of fucking abuse. Then, let me continue. Then you add on community abuse. So if you are a part of, let's say, the TGLBQ community, you have abuse that goes on within that community when it comes to drug, alcohol, sexual abuse. It's quite a bit. It's quite a lot. It's quite a lot of abuse for one person to go through. So imagine another individual, a toxic individual, say a toxic neighbor, someone that has witchy abilities, someone that dabbles in witchcraft, spell work, voodoo, someone that dabbles in manipulation tactics, manipulation abuse, lies, and so on and so forth. Let's say you're dealing with someone that sees you as a threat, sees you as someone that is competition to her, sees you as someone that is well put together, good attitude, nice dressing, very attractive, turns the heads of men as well as women. Let's say you have someone like that wants to attack someone like myself, who is all of that and so much more. They want to attack someone like myself with abuse as extreme, if not worse, than what I have already been through. This is not a joke. This is not a game. And then on top of that, being God's child, and all of this having happened to God's child having to go through this, God's child not knowing exactly what these people are doing, and actually being blind to the fact that they're being abused and have been abused for years, that they've been lied to, manipulated, that they've been scapegoated, black sheeped, in all these different areas. That might make someone, right? So then imagine not just that one neighbor, but multiple neighbors doing this crap against an individual, against me. What would that do? Now, let's continue. Let's not just the original neighbor, but multiple neighbors, and then they bring in other people that don't even know me to attack me. How would one handle that? Abuse in any way, shape, or form is a no-no, especially against God's children. And do understand and do believe that God is coming for that ass. He's coming for each and every single individual that had anything to do with the abuse that I've had to endure and go through for decades. You know how many people that is? You know how many groups that is? You know how many covens that is? You know how many organizations that is? That's really bad. That's really bad. And do you understand and know, from my point of view, from my perspective, I really did not want anybody to have to go through what I had to go through. Never wish that on anybody, but you know what? Some individuals, they went to great lengths and great extremes to negatively affect me and abuse me in ways to where I would not recover and I would not come back from it. I would be dead. I would want to take myself out, or I would allow somebody to do that to me. So I do believe and feel that they themselves should have to go through the same experience, if not worse, than what I went through, so that they never, in this lifetime or their next lifetime, wish and or do what they did to me. That is a form of crucifying an individual. And I'm not in agreement with it. But I did not start the fire. I did not start the attacks. I did not start the abuse. I was the one that was attacked. I was the one that was abused. And I'm tired of it.